Hey friends, welcome back to the YouTube channel. My name is Oleg and this is Mr. Bond. On this YouTube channel we review watches and we talk about watches. From time to time it's really fun to review crazy and out-of-the-box watch. And boy do I have a crazy out-of-the-box watch for you guys today. It's this watch right here from a company called TACS. The name of this watch is AVL2 Bokeh edition. Bokeh or Bokeh, I say Bokeh, but I think the proper pronunciation is Bokeh, is a Japanese photography term. They contacted me a couple of months ago and they said they have this limited edition to 500 pieces watch coming out to mark their 10th anniversary and asked if I was interested in reviewing one of their pieces. When I saw their website, when I looked at the pictures, I saw how crazy and out of the box this watch was. I thought the idea behind the design was really cool, so I agreed to review it. The way this video is going to be structured, the first part of the video is going to be the review part. I'm going to give you close-up shots, dimensions, etc. By the end of the video, I'm going to talk about my experience with the watch and kind of sum up the review. Before we get started, I just want to let you know that this is a sample watch. It's not the final production. This is a production sample. I did get it sent to us for free and we get to keep it. Of course, that's not going to affect the review in any way, as you will see. Let's begin by looking at the case dimensions of the watch. It has a diameter of 46 millimeters from this point to this point, although on their website and on the watch itself it says 47 millimeters. My caliper measured 46, so it's going to be somewhere between 46 and 47 millimeters. A lug-to-lug distance of 51.5 millimeters, so from this point to this point. It has a lug opening of 24 millimeters and the thickness of almost 16 millimeters, 15.6 millimeters to be exact. Here's what the watch looks like on my 7.5 inches or roughly about 20 centimeters wrist. You can see that it's a large watch. 47 millimeters is no small watch. However, I think it wears fairly good for its size, and that's largely due to the short-ish lug-to-lug distance, only 51.5 millimeters. Don't get me wrong, it still wears large, but it wears better than what you would assume a 47 millimeter watch would wear like. With the size of the watch, I don't have as much of a problem as I do with the thickness, almost 16 millimeters, so this one does look chunky. I think you need larger wrists to pull this one off. If you have smaller wrists, let's say something under 6.5 inches, this timepiece might appear too large on your wrist. For a better comparison, here's the watch next to Oris Aqua's 43 millimeters. As the name would suggest, it's 43 millimeters in diameter. Clearly, this watch here, the AVL2 Bokeh, is much larger. However, if you look at that lug-to-lug distance, it's not too far off. So the watch would wear a little bit better. Where things get a little bit crazy is on the thickness side. As you can see, putting them side by side, clearly the watch on the right is much thicker. TACS is the name of the company that makes this watch. They've been in business for a while, 10 years. This is their 10th anniversary watch, limited to 500 pieces. It's a special edition watch. The difference between this watch and their regular watch, AVL2, not the limited edition one, is the color variation. So this one is in this cool gunmetal color, quite like that. It's made out of stainless steel, so stainless steel case as well as stainless steel bezel. Originally it came on the bracelet. We're going to talk about the bracelet here in a minute or so, but I have it on the supplied leather strap, and I think on the leather strap it works better and looks better. We have a crown at the 3 o'clock position. It's a screw down crown with TACS logo. The grip and knurling on the crown are pretty good. First position, you hand wind it, and then when you pull it out to the second position, the second hand stops sticking because it is a hackable movement. Let's actually talk about the movement. So of course this is a mechanical watch, Miyota 82 SO automatic movement. 21 joules beats at 21,500 vibrations per hour, 40 hours of power reserve, and it is a hackable and hand windable movement. The rotor is unidirectional winding, so you will experience and hear some rotor noise. In this one it's not too bad because the case is so massive, it kind of offsets the rotor vibration, but you'll still be able to hear it a little bit. Coming back to this crown, you can see there's a partial crown guard here closer to the 3 o'clock position, and that's to mimic the loop on the camera, because of course we can't talk about this watch without speaking of the design of this watch. It's very clearly inspired by a vintage camera lens, and that looks really cool. It looks very unique. This watch is all form over function. It's a watch that's very hard to read. If you look at these hands, right now they're kind of hiding one behind another, but they are not the easiest hands to read. And even though on the side of the dial here we have a few markings, so it says 12, 15, 17, and so on for the minute increments, so it makes it slightly easier to read. We also have this 45 here, and we have 50 minutes mark. So all those help with the overall dial legibility, but it's not very easy to read at all. So don't buy this watch if it's going to be the only watch in your collection. It's not very functional. It's not exactly your Flieger or your diver that is designed for a specific function. This one here is more of a fashion piece. The watch has 100 meters of water resistance, largely due to that screw down crown. However, it doesn't have a screw down case back. The case back is actually held in place with these 4 screws. Display case back, of course, displaying the movement. And at the front of the watch, we have a domed piece of sapphire crystal. That looks really cool. And again, it mimics the look of a camera lens. So I have a vintage camera right here. Let me pull that out. So you can kind of see the inspiration behind this watch. I mean, probably not based on this exact lens, but you get the idea. The bezel also rotates, which I found very interesting. It's a friction resistant bezel, so it's bidirectional. Good resistance on it. It actually feels pretty solid. It feels like it's gonna stay in place. A little bit of an accent on this body. So it has, looks like this rubber part, or maybe it's plastic. Again, to mimic the camera body. The lume on this watch is very interesting. Here's a lume shot for you. I've never seen a lume quite like this. I like that all the numbers are lumed, as well as the seconds hand. That's kind of interesting. It's not an overly functional lume. It would be kind of difficult to tell exactly what time it is, especially if you look at it in the middle of the night. Normally in my videos, I don't talk about packaging too much, but packaging on this watch has some great attention to detail. So here's the box that it comes in. It's a fully wooden box with the metal plate on the side and on this side here. It looks really good and it feels like a good quality wooden box. A lot of thought and design went into this packaging, you can tell. It loops here like a vintage camera cover would. This part here is made out of leather. You open it up as so, and take a look at this. So here is a little cover for the watch itself. So just like you would see, these vintage cameras, they would have one of these covers. You get something similar with this cover. I think that's a really cool touch and cool attention to detail. Also with this watch, you get the included leather strap. The leather strap is actually really nice quality. So this one is not going to ship with this exact leather strap. This is a prototype, I should mention. So this is not a final production model. It doesn't have the number for the limited edition. It's just one of the review samples. The leather strap is really nice. It's really thick, Horween leather. I really like this tank buckle and this little metal accent, this little metal loop. That looks really good and just feels good and solid. Also, with this watch, you get a stainless steel bracelet. Now, the bracelet is not great. I actually really don't like this bracelet. So first of all, as soon as it came in, the clasp has broke. There was a little spring here and that flew out. And I contacted the company, told them about that. They said, since this is a prototype version, it's not a final production version, it didn't go through all the proper quality control checks, and that's why it broke. I mean, I'll give them benefit of the doubt, but not a good look. The overall quality of the bracelet it's okay, but it's a little bit too jangly. It's not as tight, not as precise. And it also only has straight lugs, so it doesn't have lugs that would conform with the case. Doesn't look that great when you have it on the case. What I really like about this bracelet though, there's one positive, is the release mechanism on both lugs. So to put the bracelet on or to take it off, you simply squeeze these two together and the bracelet comes off, or you could put it back on. Very convenient, very simple. I wish more companies did that. I actually think Swiss watch company with their new watch that's coming out in a few months. I think they have the same system on their rubber strap and on their bracelet, which is great to see. The leather strap, also has a quick release mechanism here. So both the bracelet and the strap have quick release mechanisms. And one last thing that you get in the package is the pins removal tool. It's a pretty good one. So sizing the bracelet would be fairly easy. It's just, I wish the bracelet itself was nicer. Alright, so that was the review part of the video. Now let's talk about my experience with the watch. First of all, the price. $650 US, in my opinion, way too much. This watch should be under $400. Now, I understand it's a limited edition watch, plus they have some great packaging with the watch, and all of that costs money. Probably the design patents cost money, but $650 is $650, and to me, this watch doesn't look like a $650 watch. They also have a non-limited edition version of this watch. I believe that one is priced at $550. More reasonable, about $100 cheaper, but nevertheless, still too expensive. If it was under $400, I would give it thumbs up. At this price point, you gotta really enjoy that design. Which brings me to point number 2, the design of the watch. It's great, it's funky, it's out there. I'm really glad that this watch exists. I'm glad that companies are still taking design risks. They're not just playing it safe by making another Rolex Submariner or Maj or whatever. But the 47mm diameter is not going to work for everyone's wrist. So keep that in mind. If you prefer smaller watches, this watch is not for you. And the last point that I want to bring up is the issues with the bracelet. First of all, straight lugs. A big no-no. If you're trying to sell a watch for $600, even $500, people are expecting integrated bracelets. Straight lug bracelets just look like you took a shortcut. I do like the quick release mechanism on the bracelet, but at this price point, straight lugs, in my opinion, kind of inexcusable. On top of that, as I mentioned in the review part of this video, the bracelet arrived with a broken clasp. The company said that because it wasn't a final production version, that's why it had some quality control issues. With the final production versions, all watches will go through rigorous quality control. Nevertheless, this is a review, and if you're sending a watch for review, you better make sure that everything works properly and nothing arrives broken, because if it does, of course I'm gonna mention it. My suggestion for the watch, get rid of the metal bracelet, drop the price, and maybe drop the size slightly. With all those changes, it would be a very attractive package. As it is right now, you have to really enjoy this design, and you have to be probably into photography to really get the most out of this timepiece. I appreciate you watching this video until the end. Please give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, subscribe to the YouTube channel, we upload new videos every week, and leave a comment in a comment section below. Let me know what you think about this watch. By the way, today on my wrist, I'm wearing my Seiko SKX 007. I did a full review of this watch. That video was actually done about 2 years ago. I'll leave a link to that video in the description below. Also in the description below, there are 2 other links. The first link is a link to bondnativstraps.com if you're looking for a great quality native strap and want to support this YouTube channel at the same time. Buying one of these native straps is a great way to do so. The second link is a secret link. Have a look if you're curious. Thanks for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you had fun, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye. I think today I got the squeaky chair, and you got the good chair. I think today you're the lucky one. Good boy. Good boy. Oh, maybe you have the squeaky chair. Let's see. Yeah, you got the squeaky chair.